Hi you guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Renee. If you guys are new here, I'm the owner of Hone the Brand, a small stationery and budgeting shop. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I make my A6 tabbed cash envelopes. I've gotten requests to show how I do so I'm going to be showing you guys today. So these are going to be the items that you need. You're going to need whatever cardstock you choose. I like to use 65-pound cardstock. You will need glossy 3mm laminating pouches. You will need 3mm matte laminating pouches. You will need 5mm matte laminating pouches. You will also need a paper cutter of your choice and of course a laminator. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look for the A6 tabbed cash envelope SVG. I got mine on Etsy, so just search A6 tabbed envelope SVG. And you're going to see that a number of options does pop up. Select whichever one that you would like. This specific one is the one that I purchased. Once you've purchased and downloaded your SVG, you're going to upload the image and then you're going to go to browse. You're going to find the file that you just downloaded wherever you had put it. So you're going to make sure that you open the SVG files. On Cricut, you're only able to upload one image at a time. So this is what we're going to do until you uploaded all 6. So make sure that you click upload, then you will see it on your canvas. Now you need to resize the envelope to meet the specific dimensions for the A6. So make sure that you unlock the dimensions. The width is 3.53 and the height is 6.732. I'm going to show you guys how to add text to the tabs if you guys wanted to print out text on the tabs. If you've seen my 2026 Friday Savings Challenge, you will see that I've created tabs that have the months. You would just want to go ahead and add a text box, line it up and size it to fit each tab. You're going to see me do that right here. The difference with the text on the tabs is you want to highlight everything and you want to make it a print then cut. You want to make sure you attach it all. And then you will click make. This would make sure that it prints out the text and then it will go ahead and ask you to put it in to cut out the envelope, but that's not what we're doing, so we're gonna go back. Now I personally already have my 6 already added and saved, so we're just gonna bypass all of that. But like I said, you would want to make sure that you add each of the 6 and line it up so that you can print them all at once. So now you're ready to finally cut out each envelope. This is how I've lined them up. Make sure you're attaching them all. Then go on and click make. Before we go ahead and insert into the Cricut, you want to make sure that you have laminated the cardstock. That will be the tabs. So you're going to be laminating them in glossy 3mm laminating pouches. Once that's done, now you're ready to add it to a mat. I use a standard grip mat for this. Make sure that you're lining it up with the cardstock and not the laminating pouch, because the laminating pouch will actually be a little bit extra over the cardstock. Now, for the cut settings, I like to use Poster Board Plus, and I like to make sure that it is cutting 4 times. If you need to edit how many times that your Cricut will cut, you will want to specifically do that under the material settings, I believe it is. Just double check with the Cricut machine that you're using. Once it's done cutting out, this is what it looks like. And once you've got all 6, that's what it looks like. Next, we're going to go into the peekaboo, which is the front of the cash envelope. So first, you're going to get a shape. You want to make sure that you're getting a square. You're going to resize this square now. You're going to make sure that you are unlocking the dimensions or the sizes again. And the size will be 3.21 for the width and 6.75 for the height. Next, go ahead and grab another shape. Now you're going to need the triangle. You're going to unlock the dimensions once again, and you're going to size it to 4.51 for the width and 2.26 for the height. Go ahead and lock it again. Now we need to rotate it to make sure that it fits the rectangle that we created. You want to rotate it to 45.22. And then you're going to make sure that you line up this triangle precisely with the rectangle. You may have to zoom in and really play with it, but make sure that it is even. Once you're satisfied, you're going to highlight both of those and you're going to attach. You're going to duplicate this 3 times because only 3 will fit on one cardstock page. So you're going to have to cut twice. But make sure that you duplicate it 3 times. The last one, you want to rotate it 90 degrees so that it fits properly. You're going to attach all 3 and then you're going to go ahead and click make. So the peekaboo isn't laminated before cutting, so I go ahead and I put it on a light grit mat and then I go ahead and put it into the Cricut. I cut the peekaboos on the poster board setting just because I needed to have a deep cut, but I don't need it to cut multiple times since it's not laminated. As you can see, it will start cutting out the triangle first before it cuts out the full rectangle part of the peekaboo envelope. And this is what it looks like once it's all cut out. You see how easy it is to peel it away. You don't need the extra cardstock or the rectangle parts. You only need these parts that have cut out. Sometimes you may have to cut around a little bit just in case your Cricut did not cut deep enough. But once you have those parts put together, this is what it looks like. Okay, you guys, now we're still trucking along. Now you want to make sure that you grab your 3mm matte laminating pouch. We only need 1 for 6 envelopes that we're making. I like to use the peekaboo part to make sure that I'm cutting it evenly to match it. So as you guys can see here, I just line it up properly and cut out each based on the width and height of the peekaboo part. Now you're going to grab your 5mm laminating pouches, and I like to cut these in half, and I'll show you guys why. Make sure that you have enough for 6, so you're going to cut 3 in half. Okay, you guys, now all the prep work is done. Now it's time to finally put the cash envelopes together and to finally laminate. So you're going to grab one of the tabbed portions. You're going to grab the 3mm. You're going to make sure that you're using only one piece of the 3mm, and you're going to make sure that the shiny side of that 3mm is facing the peekaboo. As you can see here, it's going between the tabbed and the peekaboo in the middle, and like I said, the shiny side is facing the peekaboo so that this will create the envelope. You're going to insert all 3 pieces into the 5mm matte laminating pouch that we cut in half. This, you're going to make sure that you line up the top properly with the top of the 5mm matte laminating pouch. I will tell you guys, you are never going to do this perfectly. You are human. It might overlap a little bit, it might shift a little bit, but try your best to line it up as perfect as possible or as good as possible. The tabbed part will be showing at the top. This part you don't want in the 5 matte laminating pouch, and then go ahead and run it through the laminator. Another tip for these is you want to make sure that you're using a really good laminator that gets really hot. This is a commercial laminator, and I'm actually making sure that I laminate it on the 10mm laminating setting because it gets really hot and it makes sure that it seals the envelopes really well. You guys, here I am showing you another example. So this is going to be the second tab. This is how I make sure that it's lined up properly before I go ahead and I add it to the 5mm pouch. That's what it looks like once it's done laminating. Now that they're done, it's time to cut them all out. I use the Fiskars paper cutter like I always do, and this just gives me a more uniform and more precise cut. I make sure to leave 1/2 inch at the bottom of the envelope for the holes, and I just cut off a little bit on the sides, and this is what it looks like once it's done. Because I cut on 10mm, it's really sticking, so you just need to open it up once it's done. I like to run it through the laminator maybe once more just to make sure everything is all sealed. You could stop here and just go ahead and hole punch it, but I like round corners, so I round all the corners. For envelopes 1 and 6, you're going to have to manually cut it because it won't be able to fit into this hole punch. You'll see what I mean in a second. All that's left to do is to hole punch these on Personal, and you can find this hole punch on Amazon. All the supplies and equipment that you need for this is linked in my Amazon storefront, which you guys can find in the description box. And once you're done hole punching them, you guys are ready to use your cash envelopes. Definitely is a lot of steps to create these envelopes. I hope this video was helpful, and if you guys want me to make them, you guys can purchase them on my site. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!